with a big one, of course, move up a spot to number 2. Walk us through the rest of it, Dan. I'm not going to speak for you.
Yeah, the Seahawks ran into a buzzsaw there. The Rams, who seem to be peaking at the right time. So I don't kill them too much and keep them in the top 3, even though it was not a good showing by the Seahawks. The Saints, I keep them at 4 because, hey, they were involved in the wrong end of a classic. Their defense concerns me. Their injuries in their front 7 is something to be concerned about. And the Chiefs, welcome to the top 5. And the Patriots, for the first time all season, outside the top 5.
Outside the top 5.
Ooh, spicy.
Speaking of those Chiefs, as you have a trio of NFC teams between they and the Ravens, are they the biggest threat to the AFC or to the crown in the AFC, in your opinion, to the Ravens?
You know that Twitter site, Freezing Cold Takes?
I do.
Yeah. I don't want to ever be on that site for writing a 150-word blurb on NFL.com saying it's over for the Patriots. In fact, the way things set up for them with their schedule, I can imagine by the time we get to January, people will be viewing them differently. So the Patriots are the team that are the biggest threat because they still are the Patriots. I know it's a cliche and borderline lazy to just be like, well, they're the Patriots. But you know what? Well, they're the Patriots.
They're the Patriots. They've won 6 Super Bowls in the last 20 years.
I'm not going to count them out.
Cynthia, who you got?
I mean, I want to also point out that the Chiefs, who have already beaten the Ravens once, they're a threat to them as well, right? Sure. You saw the Chiefs now win in Foxborough, gets them closer to having the bye. You know, there's an interesting dynamic here with how fast their pace of play is for the Chiefs on offense. Like, that keeps them in it because if Lamar Jackson, with all those rushing yards, if they're playing from behind, they don't score quickly. They break the pace down, make it slower. And you know Patrick Mahomes can, 3 plays, touchdown, 100 and whatever yards, like in no time at all. So to me, that one's an interesting one, just kind of heading into December.
Where is that, though? Where is that Patrick Mahomes
That's
offense?
That's the thing. And look, you can do that
It'll
for
come.
either team, right? You can say, all right, well, the Patriots wide receivers have been terrible all season. The running game is just starting to come around for the Chiefs. Running game has not been there. They just signed Spencer Ware. They're trying to find a fix there. I guess the reason why I'd lean Patriots over Chiefs is because
turnovers. I get it.
I believe in their defense.
Yeah.
I don't quite know which one of. I don't know if I believe in the Chiefs' offense. I certainly don't believe in their defense quite yet. So I think that's kind of what I'm trying to sort out.
One other thing, the Ravens, and we love the Ravens. They've won 9 in a row. Had arguably the greatest November we've ever seen.
Right.
Maybe go back and check out the
Did they
07
peak too
Pats.
early?
I'll just throw it out there that they've come down to earth a little bit. Now the quarterback, Jackson, has a quad issue. I'm not saying they're a team that's vulnerable now, but did they peak? I don't know.
The interesting thing, too, about both of these teams is they're going to see them the second time. And I'm not saying that the Ravens' offense is a gimmick. That's not kind of what I'm getting at. But it's just so different that I think you get a second crack at it, and you can maybe have a better shot of figuring out how you want to attack it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. You saw it last year with the Chargers. Didn't work in the first regular season meeting. Totally worked the second time. They were able to kind of formulate how they wanted to attack it based on their personnel. Speaking of those Patriots, Dan Hanzus, here is a commentary from viewer Michael. Generous, Pats 5, pretender, schedule, joke, 2 teams, winning record. React.
First of all, get a avatar. Do not do the.
There's a lot of numbers in his name too.
Number 2, they are number 6, not number 5. And number 3, kind of just went over it. Yes, you can make the case to drop them lower in a power rankings exercise. I'm just not doing it on mine because am I going to put them behind the Packers, the Vikings, the Titans, the Tech? Those are all teams that have flaws as well, so I'm just not going to do it.
Cynthia?
I mean, I think, obviously.
Too low, too high?
I think it's a little low.
Just right?
I mean, I think it's a little low. 6 means to me like you're not a bye playoff team. And I think they're a bye playoff team. So
you'd put them ahead of the Chiefs. Which one? The Chiefs, Saints, Seahawks?
I'd probably put them ahead of the Seahawks.
I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. I thought the Seahawks, I thought 3 was very generous for a Seahawks team that looked like they had serious issues against a Rams squad that didn't have much life, save a big win over
It was a bad week. And I chose not to ding them too hard for it, but it's fair if you think they should have.
Yeah, and plus remember, that Chiefs game was kind of wonky. There was some officiating issues, touchdown taken off the board, or not even put up on the board. Challenges not available. Yeah, it was just kind of
confusion.
And if they win that game, guess what? We're like, well, there you go.
The Patriots are back.
Exactly.
Patriots have won 100 games like that over the years, and
it's true.
I just give them
very true.
21-game winning streak that the Chiefs snap the Patriots in Foxborough. Yeah. It is quite an achievement, however it happens.
One more tweet to dictate programming content. Avatar, check. Numbers, no.
Great.
So we like Tyler.
Yes.
Ridiculous. Oh, hold on. This is a guy who's a Packer fan, all right. Ridiculous. Packers should be ahead of the Pats, the Chiefs, and the Saints.
Yeah,
Dare.
it sounds a
I
little
gotta put a dare in there.
Chicago-y.
And they're Saints. Yeah, they do the dare.
There.
Yeah, dare.
Are we talking about the Packers now? Is
Yeah,
that what we're gonna do?
That was why I did that in like a Wisconsin style accent.
Okay.
Wisconsin.
Might have
Get
been
some
a little
cheese
too
curds.
Chicago.
All right.
Wisconsin.
I like those cheese curds.
So the
I do too.
Packers, it's a loaded NFC, and they're the number 2 seed. So why are they number 7? Show me the last time they put up a performance that made you kind of sit up in your chair and view this team as a legit Super Bowl contender. I'm not saying they don't have it in them, and I'm not going to say I'm going to get down on them too much for not looking great against the Giants and Redskins, because I imagine it's not too easy to get up against some of the worst teams in football, so you just take care of business, which they did. But I'd really like to see a signature win where they really announce themselves as one of the great teams in the league. And the last time they had that opportunity, they got the doors blown off by the 49ers.
Right. Cynthia?
When I look at the Packers, I have a number. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen great level of competition. That's not their fault. They can't help that. It's going to be interesting to see against the Bears, who the Bears have some life in them, and the Bears need this win in order to stay playoff eligible. So it's going to be interesting to see how in this one, does that O-line hold up against Khalil Mack? Is their defense, Trubisky's been up and down this season, so is their defense going to be able to bring enough pressure in order to keep everything kind of in front of them, so they're not getting in a situation where Aaron Rodgers is having to make anything crazy happen late?
So my issue with the Packers is I think we've kind of fallen into this era of media just kind of decides to agree with the rest of the media. Narrative is laid out, and Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback to have ever played in the NFL. And everyone seems to be kind of taking that on for the last 4 or 5 years. Look, he doesn't have the titles, but just from a pure talent standpoint, I am tired of watching Aaron Rodgers hold the ball way too long.
Yeah.
And I am tired of him waiting for the kill shot downfield instead of just going through quick progressions and moving an offense methodically down the field, because this is what happens, what you just saw there, and it's what the Chargers did, and it'll be interesting. You brought up Khalil Mack. You can't do that against that Bears front, not with that offensive line.
And if Akeem Hicks is back, I mean,
Right.
we've seen
So
reports.
Again, I don't. Is the guy supremely talented when it comes to the arm? Yes, he has got great arm talent.
He's
But
worth
as
his. He's
far
worth.
as- He is, but it's like, just come on, man, run an offense. It's not about you holding the ball, patting it, stretching the play out, waiting for that big play to develop. To me, run Aaron Jones. Just kind of lean
Which
on
they
that.
did. Which they had gotten away
That's what they
from
had
in
to.
recent weeks, and he went over about 150 total yards. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I feel like the tide's turning a little bit in the Twitterverse, where people are starting to, Tiki Barber, who did or was it Rondé, did the color call for Fox, and he made a comment on a swing out pass, a bubble screen, which just seemed normal, and then Tiki was like, only one quarterback in the league can do that. And I think people are starting to get a little annoyed with the Aaron Rodgers hero worship, where it's been a couple of years when he's been since he's been a hero.
The parallel I would make is it is in the twilight of his career. I think it is entering kind of that Kobe sort of range,
where he takes all the shots.
Right. It's like it's got to be about him, and that's just the way watching him quarterback makes you feel. Like this has to be about Aaron.
Rodgers, Kobe.
Take.
That's actually a really good hot take,
back
though.
on your LA radio show.
Is that right?
Streets will be talking.
I don't think people give a darn in LA about Aaron Rodgers when he's doing a quarterback. We do, though. All right, let's get to 9 through 16 here as we make our way through 1 through 8.
Tannehill in the gun, throws, got it to Brown. Brown at the 10, at the 5, driving for the end zone. Man, he's strong. Touchdown, Titans. A.J. Brown taking him to school. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 91 yards. Touchdown, Titans. That came straight out of the black hole, right down to the other end.
9 through 16. Boy, those Titans look good.
Oh, yeah. Listen,
Thanks, Dan, for picking that up.
They are the team that no one wants to play, the proverbial team you don't want on your schedule. And what's not to like about these guys? I mean, their offense has gone from the most stale, boring, predictable attack in the league under Marcus Mariota to an absolute berserker fest. 550 yards, and it could have been 600 if they put the pedal to the metal in the fourth quarter against the Raiders. I mean, it's been an incredible turnaround.
Yeah.
I like their defense, to be honest with you. I mean, you're looking at Ryan Tannehill being awesome here with the play action, which is absolutely the case. And obviously, Derrick Henry is a big part of that. Those, you can talk about their O-line, you can talk about their everything that it's working for them. But I think their defense with Jeffrey Simmons, when no one's really talking about the difference that they're able to create with all these different looks from, they're even pressures from all sides. They have all these kind of strange pieces, Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry. They all come from different directions, and it's been really effective and really efficient in recent games. That's part of what you're seeing going forward. I'm totally with you. But I think they're low key. Dean Pease, got to give him some love. Dean Pease, they have something special going on defense too.
I mean, they have talent. You said it, Cynthia. I mean, at all three levels of the defense, and at the start of the season, it wasn't quite connected. It's kind of like the front wasn't connected with the back end, and I think that's kind of where some of those games got away from them. But it seems like they've resolved those issues. Like you said, the defense is playing exceptional football. It's connected on all three levels. But to me, the biggest thing, and this is where I would kind of separate the Titans from the Ravens, is it's just a traditional pro-style, pro-set offense, except you have a running back that is unlike anything else in the NFL. And it's one thing to see him on TV kind of running between offensive linemen and getting wrapped up by linebackers, but when you see him warming up on the field in the running back group, it's crazy. And it's not just, and this is something Daniel Jeremiah pointed out, he said, it's not just the size and the girth and the strength of him, but it's the length. And when you see defenders try to get close to him once he gets to that second level, they can't put their hands around him. His reach is so long that you can't get close to him to wrap him up. So your yards after contact is crazy. It's 5 yards after contact anytime he touches the ball. That is hard to contend with.
They're one playoff run away from people understanding how great Derrick Henry is, because he's flown under the radar. He's been one of the best, if not the best running back in the league for a year now, dating back to the end of last season.
And he almost lost his job.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been incredible. Yeah. And the Ryan Tannehill situation is one of my favorite offseason subplots to look forward to. If they keep this up, and they don't have to win the Super Bowl, but if they end up winning a division, maybe even win a playoff game.
You know what? Just go with that then.
Yeah.
Is this the team that wins the AFC South? They play the Texans twice.
I like their chances. I think I
don't
can see
want
a
to like
split.
their chances. I want yes or no.
I think they'll split with the Texans, and they'll win their other game. And I think
Saints.
The Saints.
They're going to beat the Saints.
And they will be the AFC South champions. I just think they're getting hot, and the Texans are a little
You know
wonky.
that the Texans have the Bucs.
Sure.
So if they split.
So you think they split?
Bucs are dangerous.
They split. You think the Bucs are more dangerous than the Saints?
No,
let's
I
refer
don't
to
think
the power rankings. Where do they rank on the power rankings?
Where are they?
Bucs are 20.
I would say
Bucs are
Tampa
20,
Bay.
and the Saints are what, 5, 4?
I would say
4.
if you watch the last
20.
3 or 4 games,
4.
tell me if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a team to look past.
I don't think you're going to look past them.
It depends. What half did you
watch? What about Mike
Right.
Evans? Is Mike Evans playing?
That's fair.
Well, okay,
Mike Evans
but
is
Marcus
done for the year.
Davenport, Sheldon Rankins, their defensive line is now
I got
gone.
it.
So,
But I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be an easy game, because I think the Bucs probably better than 20, but it's very jammed kind of in that middle section. But ultimately, I still think the Saints are Super Bowl contenders, right?
Sure.
So
the interesting thing about it,
sure.
but not that I don't enjoy
I
the
just
two
love
of
the
you
Titans
going
right now.
pet
I
with
love
me
the
in the middle.
Titans too.
But
Cynthia hates
I
the
want
Titans.
both of those teams. I want the Texans and the Titans to make it.
And the comments you told me privately about your feelings about the city of Nashville.
I
you just
love
tie
Nashville.
It all together, and
What
it's
are you
just-
talking about? I love Nashville.
So here's the
ugly.
interesting thing, right? If they both make it, they're going to play each other.
Yes.
That's the way this is going to set up.
That's fun.
So there'll be a third. You'll basically be playing the same team 3 times in
Let's
4 weeks.
go. I'm up for it. I'm
That's
here
what's
for it.
crazy about it.
I'm here for it.
If they
I'm
both
here
end up
for it.
getting in, which I think they're both going to get in. If they split, look, it'll be close.
It depends on what happens with the Bills and the Steelers. So the Steelers need to be the Bills, and then
Well,
the way
Bills
that
are
they
in.
split.
I think.
They could still not be. Anyways, they just got to win
Dude,
one.
listen,
they
just
just got to
because you
win one.
declare
Isn't
they
it fun
weren't gonna
chopping
get
it up?
Bills are in.
Bills are in.
The Bills are in.
But it will
gonna be
happen
the
with
one.
what happens with the Steelers. They're not going to be the one.
They'll be the one. They will be the one wild card. You think the Steelers
I
are going
thought.
to jump ahead of them?
I'm sorry. When you said the one,
No,
I thought
no.
you meant they're
They'll
going to
be
win
the
the
one
AFC
wild
East.
card.
I'm like, I can't. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
All
love
right.
Nashville.
We got a new bottom dweller. Dan Hanzus getting hot.
Me? I'm the bottom dweller?
With
Your wording.
yeah.
That was
Brave.
Mayfield shotgun, he's got the snap. Back, settles, looks up in the pocket, runs left to the corner. He's to the 10, he's to the 5, he dives around the pylon. No signal, now they do. Touchdown, Baker Mayfield. What a job by his body to hook around the pylon and get it in as he runs it in from 7 yards out on 3rd and goal. So the Browns tie it at 13.
Well, here you go, Dan Hanzus. You're not feeling that at all? Has anyone ever done it before?
What
I don't
is
get the
it?
ref.
You don't get it?
No.
Oh, wow.
What
All
is
well,
it?
so much for 1950s, early 60s doo-wop rock in these parts. 17 through 24. Go ahead, look it up.
Put on the glasses of shame.
Baker Mayfield with the with that their move to the pylon. And then he had a pretty good post game, didn't he? Okay, honorable mentions.
Baker, it's just ridiculous with that guy. Just no one to shut up. Is this going to happen his entire career? Is he just one of those guys?
Just quickly, as we get to honorable mentions, I would say I would have somebody on the mic. Just as soon as he starts talking and it gets sideways, beep, just cut it out.
Yeah. He can.
All right, guys, he's done.
Yeah.
Cough
That's
button.
it. All right, let's start with the Vikings. And honorable mention, up 1 spot to number 8.
It's hard to make sense of the Vikings in the sense that I hate this Dalvin Cook injury. It's a shoulder, it's a chest, it's a type of thing that easily gets aggravated, as we saw with James Conner with a similar type injury. And if you take him out of the mix, he's their Jenga piece, as Dave Damashek would say. The whole thing is going to fall apart.
I mean, I agree with you on all of that. The interesting part for the Vikings is like the Rams could mess things up for them. The Bears could mess things up for them. Not necessarily a playoff run, as likely as a playoff run, but the Rams, if the Rams keep winning, they could be like the Jenga piece of the entire NFC playoff picture, including kind of sliding the Vikings out. Although it's less probable, but they could easily.
I see like the Vikings either winning the NFC North or missing the playoffs. I don't know.
This week's the big one.
Boom or bust.
They're 3-4 on the road. They're undefeated at home. They're playing a Chargers team that's healthy, but hasn't been great all year. If they're for real, they'll win this game. If they're not,
yeah, but
lose.
like without Dalvin Cook, like I mean without full
look
Dalvin
out.
Cook,
That gets a little shaky. All right, to honorable mention number 2. Speaking of the Rams, those Rams.
Great stat from Bill Smith and the rest of the NFL media research team. The trio, some say troika,
Triumvirate.
of Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee,
Triumvirate.
Cognoscente, Todd Gurley, the first
Fangio.
teammates to go over 100 yards in back-to-back weeks since the Vikings of 2000, that great Randy Moss, Chris Carter, and the eternally underrated Robert Smith did that.
How about that?
So what does it tell us? It tells us
it
that
tells
Los
us that
Angeles is
despite
back.
a win, they say number 13.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's tough. It's tough sledding to
Little low.
move up into the top 12. But I will say this, that their offense looks healthy again. I'm buying back in. They're still at 13, so I'm not all the way bought back in. But at least they're fun to watch again.
Yeah, and just quickly, Goff, look, he was great against Arizona.
You hate Goff.
He was just against Seattle.
You're
And it's like,
anti-Goff.
the offense is fixed and stuff. I was like, he threw 2 picks. Like, that's not fixed.
You're off Goff.
I've been off Goff.
Yeah. for
Since
many,
they gave him that
many
giant,
weeks.
I wanted to see them ride it out, man. I wanted to see him ride it out and be
Like Dak
like,
Prescott
prove
it out.
Exactly. Look how that's working out
Speaking
now,
of the
huh?
LA radio show, do the people
Exactly.
here like Jared Goff?
I don't think they know who he is. That was mean.
I'm going
That
to
was
stop
really
asking
mean.
about football in the Los Angeles
That was
market.
really mean. The Bears, up 3 spots to 14.
You know, Matt Tanton, our producer, he's getting really excited about himself. And all of a sudden,
Bears-Packers week.
He's like, oh, I follow a team that matters. Maybe they do, but I think this is kind of when the glory ride could end. At the same time, Cynthia, I don't trust the Packers as we've established. So I look forward to seeing which version the Bears shows up and which version of the Packers show up.
So the Bears are up 3 spots after beating the Cowboys, but the Rams beat the Seahawks and stay. Got it.
No, it's easy to move up that middle, the soft underbelly.
Got
You
it.
don't want to put
Much
the Rams
harder.
in the playoff grouping of 12.
No, they're on the
I'm
outside
just
of that
saying.
group.
I'm just saying.
Moving up from like 19 to 13 is easy. Moving up from 13 to top 10, top 12.
Look, it's a
tough.
good team that had a bad stretch, and that's how you lose a season. You know,
Yeah.
good team, bad stretch, you're gonna miss the playoffs. Bummer. Close out strong, and everybody be like, man, remember that missed field goal against the Chargers? That was the one.
And
you know,
10,
that's
Roquan
what
Smith.
happens,
That kills you.
right?
Yeah.
Peke. Ooh.
We need a Tanton Cam.
Yeah.
Buccaneers up 2 spots.
No, actually, don't. Watching the game and be like,
Bucs up 2 spots.
Yeah, you like the Bucs.
I like them as kind of like a team that's
Buccaneers.
going to annoy some people. That's a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah.
And I
Big
love.
spoiler last week.
you know, they're not going to
I'm
spoil.
really enjoying
Lions.
this Jameis Winston season. It's the Winston season on steroids. He's on pace for 5,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, 28 interceptions, probably like 700 fumbles. It's just an awesome season, and the idea that the Bucs have to figure this out, like, do we want him as our quarterback?
Right.
It's just, he's funny to me.
I mean, the Lions are. He's going to throw for like 650 yards against the Lions.
Right. But how many
Didn't we
pick
do this-
sixes?
Didn't we already have this exercise with Pat Mahomes? Hey, Mahomes is going to throw for
No,
900 yards against the Lions.
It's different now.
Put him under
It's
a
different
roof.
now.
And that
Put him under a roof.
fell apart.
It's not about a roof. It's just the fact that he's going to have to keep throwing.
JETS, airplanes.
Okay.
Yeah. I have to say that, yes, they beat the Dolphins with the help of
1
the
point.
big brother upstairs
Little
buzzing down. It
Little
is
bit.
what it is. It was a PI. But I did not love how my boy Sam Darnold played this past week. You could all season you've been able to point to the offensive line, the running game, the absence of real weapons around him. Against the Dolphins, he had good protection and guys open all over the field and just missed a lot of throws. And now he gets 3
got
of
a
the
quick
top
question.
defenses in the league.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Are we still talking about the Jets?
Okay. Do you want to go bowling?
Hey, I didn't put it on
Kansas, do
the
you want to go
rundown.
bowling? Bowling?
251.
You know what else you didn't put on the rundown?
What?
But our stinking production staff did because they're so elated and there's too many Yankee fans
Ten.
on them. Garrett Cole, honorable
Hey,
mention.
baby. Listen, that's the final piece, and that's how free agency should work. They're
that?
not buying a championship, the Yankees.
And we're out of
Yes,
time.
they are.
They are not. They have a homegrown core, and what you should do is supplement
Okay.
a core that you
You know what?
develop.
You know what?
And
The
then
best
you
thing
bring
about
in
Garrett
a big
Cole-
piece. Let's go, baby, number 28.
You know what the best part about Garrett Cole was? Our producer, Matt Tan, the Bears fan, he had the best tweet about it. He was like, seeing Garrett Cole's name all over the news says just one thing. There is no way to spell Garrett that makes any sense to anyone. It just always looks wrong. I know. I told him to put the tweet on the screen, but he refused to do it.
The
So
Yankees will
this is
win the World
bad TV
Series
because of that.
next October, and
What's-
everyone else
what's
will
that?
have to deal with it.
What was that?
Oh, there's a tweet. Yes. Exactly. That is a great tweet.
I think that's enough, Tanner.
I want to revisit that last statement you just made. What
Yes.
was it again?
Whatever,
The
he
Yankees
can
will win the
sing.
World Series next October.
One more time.
The Yankees will win
Freezing
the World
cold
Series
takes.
next October. Cut it, and you have to play it back if they win. You can't only
Okay.
play it back if they lose.
Can we get that to the AP, please? Get that up on the
Freezing
wire.
cold takes.
Can we get that right now? I just want to get it out there before anyone else.
What if his
It's
ERA
been
is like
10
7 after
Yeah. It's been
like
10 long
All right,
June.
power
years.
moves. Before we get to power moves, here's 25
Not so
through
powerful.
32.
Didi
Not so
Gregorius.
powerful. There is
Goodbye,
a power
Didi.
move
Great
in there,
Yankee.
though, and that's what we're getting to because that's presented by the long-lasting power of Energizer. Still going.
Still going.
You dropped the Jags
Yeah.
considerably following their defeat at the hands of the Chargers.
I want to credit Greg Rosenthal, my colleague, with this. He called me out last week on the Around the NFL podcast. You know, you have the Jags too high. They are historically terrible right now. And you have to go, again, the great NFL media research team. You got to go all the way back to the 1986 Bucs, I believe it was, to find a team that has lost 5 straight games by at least 17 points. They are not competitive, and I don't want to draw attention to this as a celebration or anything. And he's from the Bronx, so that's a nice thing. But Doug Marrone, this is the epitome of a team quitting on its coach, what we're watching right now.
Well, I don't know if I'd go there. I think you just saw it there with 40. Just watch the numbers that are in the 40s and 50s. 56 there. See you later. There's 41. Nope, nothing. And here goes another linebacker, Josh Allen. I'm going to wear you as a backpack. 54. You're getting carried 6 yards. It's just not a good team. You know, I don't know if they loved their head coach. As again, you just kind of the middle of that defense,
Money,
specifically
5
the
straight
linebacker
weeks,
core is-
17 plus.
I mean, here, look at 54. What are you doing, and where are you? And this is what happens in these
AJ
games.
Boya getting
Yeah.
worked right there too.
So I don't mind you putting them all the way down to the bottom. They had a quarterback that refused to push the ball downfield. Leonard Fournette did not look like he was all that interested in banging around inside
gotta
that
move
line.
on
I think
from
that maybe
Fournette.
speaks to your point about Doug Marrone, and I think it's also probably the whole front office. You know, I think this is
I don't know if
out.
I think that they like specifically quit on him. I think they kind of like just all quit on each other. I don't think it was specifically like, oh, coach, because I've never heard one. I talked to a number of players down there, and they don't hate him. It's not about the coach. It's like the whole situation. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go to Topgolf. We're good.
it's
I got a power move.
Top golf.
I got a power move money.
I went to Topgolf in Jacksonville before. It's a,
I know.
It's a lovely
Look at
spot.
this.
Look at
Speaking
you.
of
Oh,
Top
there you
Golf,
go.
because he's been practicing. Because look at real Matt
Wow.
Money Smith
Yeah, look at
posting
that.
on
I'm
his Twitter page.
rocking some
Matt.
Vans because I didn't have any golf shoes. I got the late
cares?
call.
And that is not a par 3 in Glendale. That is TPC Sawgrass 17, one of the iconic holes in this nation.
That's
Yes.
amazing that
Look
you
at
got
you,
the bird
putting
to
it
fly
on.
across the screen at the exact
Right.
right time. Like, really, you
Look
set
at your
that
reaction,
up really well.
too. You-
Well-
You're so proud of yourself there.
A little bit of a double cross at the top there. Yeah, gotta tighten that up.
People don't know this about you, but you are sneaky athletic.
No.
Power moves.
Look at the
Matt
face
Money
here.
Smith, athlete.
I'm not.
Power moves.
Speaking of Mats and the Yankees, me and my buddies, my cousins, when we were young, we'd play wiffle ball. If someone hit a home run and we're going
Where
around
are
the
we going with
bases
this?
and they'd be unable to contain their joy, we called it the Matt Noakes phase because Matt Noakes used to do that when he was on the Yankees. That was your Matt Noakes phase.
Well,
there.
you can't see the
couldn't
ball,
even contain it.
but there was a heavy right to left wind, so I'm watching it track from the right side of the pin, and it's pushing, and I'm like, oh no. That's why I start leaning this way, and it ended up landing about this far from falling off the green into the water.
Ooh-wee.
So yeah, that's why I give
Beautiful.
it a little bit of a whoo.
And a really nice swing. All right,
Yes.
I'm going to keep us moving.
Okay.
All right, just
You
take
do it. Well, I
a
don't need to
break.
be here.
Take a break here, Money, because what I want to talk about. What do I want to talk about again?
I don't even know.
Good thing you turned the
Oh,
reins over
Phillip
to him.
Rivers. Oh yes, Phillip Rivers. Let's
Check,
out
please.
what happened when Phillip Rivers threw a 90-yard touchdown pass.
Touchdown! 90-yard touchdown!
Hey, 17, you see I ain't talking, right? Stay humble, bro.
You know he's right
Stay
here.
humble, stay humble, cuz.
Say 90 yards. I can be excited.
Yeah, but don't do that by my ear. Don't do it by my ear now. Don't do it by my ear.
I will do it. No.
Hey,
That's what I do.
1-7.
That's what I do.
I heard that you after the game. 17, just keep talking.
Yeah,
That's
that's what
Yannick,
17 does. 17 keeps talking.
I will do it by your ear.
Yannick Ngakoue. And the thing about it that really, if you really want to get on Phil Rivers a little bit, Ngakoue helps him up
Right.
after the play, and Rivers is shouting in his ear hole. Money, you are the voice of the Chargers, of
Yeah.
course. Is this Phil Rivers personified? to you?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I will yell in your ear because that's what I do. That's the best part of that whole thing is when he pauses for about a half second. He goes, because that's what I do. It's like,
He
yep,
means
there
no
it is.
malice by it, though, right? Isn't he kind of like the uncle or the dad at the Y with the knee pads and the Larry Bird jersey? And he's just super into it and a little overly intense
Yes,
at times?
that is exactly
Yeah.
what it is. And for those that get on him when it goes bad and he's barking and chirping, and look, that's what you get. You've got to take the whole package. You're either into it or you're not. When he's throwing interceptions and he's screaming and yelling at guys, or when he's throwing touchdowns and he's screaming and yelling at guys, that's just
What
the
is
way he's
it?
got to operate.
LA fans on the radio, what do they think of Phil Rivers?
Future Hall of Famer.
All right, there we go. See, they have
on.
takes.
Cynthia Freeland comes with her Power 5. Who's going to win the Super Bowl? Percentages based on her algorithm. Unique to her and her alone. Next.
4th down and 8. Josh Allen out of the shotgun. Devin Singletary with him in the backfield. Ravens show blitz. Here comes Earl Thomas off the edge. Singletary's pass over the middle. It is incomplete. No flag on the play. Marcus Peters with the play. And with 1:03 left in Buffalo, the Hayes in the barn.
Hayes in the barn.
Great call.
Quick reminder of the Dan Hanzus 1 through 8. Atop, there are the Ravens. 49ers with that big win in New Orleans at number 2. And that now brings us to Freeland's Power 5. All right, Cynthia, your projections for who wins the Super Bowl.
Ready? A new winner. First time it hasn't been the Patriots all season. The
Thank
Ravens have snuck up ahead into that number 1 slot. 13.
Is that our biggest number, by the way, for a number 1, 13.4%? It is, yeah.
By 0.3%, but yes.
Hey, I'm paying attention.
No, you're paying great attention. Can you explain the hay in the barn to me, though? Because, like, don't you eat hay? I do not understand it.
What,
That means
you call
the work's
me, now
done.
I'm a horse?
No, I
I'm
don't
a freaking
understand
horse
it.
face?
He's a horse
Hey,
over
hey.
here.
I don't get
I
it.
think in farmer land.
Parlance? I'm
You're
from
done.
farmer land.
You did your work. Your day is done. You're
You have
victorious.
baled the hay.
Got it.
Yes.
It is in the
And
barn.
it's like in the barn, so
A
you
lot
can
of
go
hard
inside.
work, and that hard work
But
has
then don't
resulted
the
in a
horses
job
just
well
eat the
done.
hay?
Then you got to bring it out, feed the
I
horses.
don't understand. Anyways, I'm
yeah.
come from farmer people too. I don't even
Well,
understand.
that's a bad job by you.
Any
That's
problems?
horrible.
Any problems with the Power
I have
5?
one issue, and
What is it?
And I would never challenge the machine and the robot, but I will say this: you have told us week after week the importance of that bye and what it means, because it just gives you a clearer path to get to the Super Bowl and then win it potentially. Where are the Packers then?
The
They
Packers.
have the number 2 seed if the season ended today.
They're kind of like right under the Niners for their number 6. And if the season ended today, they would have the bye. But the season doesn't end today. We still got 3 games left to play. So this just means that either the Saints or the Niners have a slightly better chance of getting the bye than the Packers when everything is said and done.
I think I would disagree with that, and I know it's hard to disagree with a model because it's just spitting out the numbers you put into it. But for whatever reason, your model has liked the Chiefs all season. No matter if they have a bye, if they don't have a bye, if they're playing well, if they're not playing well, for whatever reason, whatever you value, the way you put it into your model, it likes the Chiefs.
Yep.
And I think to me, that's the most logical explanation.
Let me just take issue on Cynthia's behalf here
Yes.
with you insinuating that the numbers just are spit out of the machine.
That's
no,
exactly
they are
right.
processed. The data is tabulated,
Oh,
and then it is
big mistake
it
there.
is released.
See what he did? He said the data is. So
The
everything
data
you just
are
said
tabulated?
prior and after.
No,
is
what is the
now
data
this-
are tabulated?
Yeah, it's multiple.
No,
it's not one digit. The data is.
No.
The data are multiple.
Sometimes what's right is
values.
actually wrong. The data are tabulated.
Yes.
No.
Okay,
Data.
so what happens is in the history, when you go back, you look for doppelgangers in history.
Are, not is.
Okay. On
No,
to the
I'm
next
talking-
thing. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Please continue. People are more
ultimately-
interested in what you have to say
No,
than
no.
us two idiots. That's for certain.
Basically, what happens is it looks for historical reference points that are similar. So an offense that's similar versus a defense that's similar, and what might happen when the two combine, right? The difference for the Chiefs, in part, is because how fast they score points. That is a big deal, and I know we've said we've seen some differences in it, but we've also seen a bunch of injuries. So as they get healthier and we see more, Tyreek Hill now back to being Tyreek Hill, it appears, from all viewpoints,
Yeah, he's
right?
moving
The O-line,
well.
same thing. So ultimately, the reason it likes the Chiefs so much is the fact that the ability for the offense to overcome shortcomings of their defense is like offense up here, defense down here. Whereas other teams, like the Patriots, like their defense is really driving the driving force in their win projections.
Here's the good news. We're going to get a quick break for you to Google.
Don't need
Is
to.
it the data is or is it the data are?
Does it pass the smell test?
And I don't want to smell
Communication.
test you. Jerk.
Just don't say
while
data.
while you do
just
that,
don't say data and we're good.
we're going to lean on Sess and Wes, something we like to call SAW. Sess and
SAW.
Wes. Sess and Wes. All right.
All right, thanks for having us on the show. Once again, always an upset when we return to this production. Wes, it's not easy for me to pump up stuff that I do. Normally, Dan, who sits here, would do that for me, but wrote an article on the Raiders, a deep dive looking at their final game in Oakland, www.nfl.com/silver and black, and I thought we could maybe talk about our top 3 favorite things that we love about those Oakland Raiders who are leaving town. For me, after doing this piece, it starts with the Coliseum. A super quirky, beautiful home field that at this point is essentially in disrepair, and a big reason for the move. But talking to guys like Art Shell and Tim Brown about playing on that infield, right, that obviously had these really rough, hard spots, and these guys would talk about you don't want to get tackled on that infield. If you're Tim Brown, you're going to go the extra mile to get off that thing and hit the grass. But secondly, the guys like Al Davis would water that field down in December and make it slick and slippery for the competition. And just all the nooks and crannies, and obviously the crowd, an insane place to play football, especially if you're the visiting team.
So much of what I love about the Raiders comes from that sort of Wild West lawlessness of the 60s and 70s before the NFL was a giant moneymaker, and you could get away with a lot more things. The closest thing we have in the NFL today to a cult of personality is probably Bill Belichick, where not only is everybody paranoid that he's smarter than the rest of the coaches, but the jokes that fly around when the Chiefs' luggage and gear gets sent to other cities that Belichick might be behind it. Al Davis never shrunk from any of that, and there was, right above the locker room, a sign that says, rule number 1, cheating is encouraged. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. And that is what Al Davis, a giant.
Not very 2019.
No, you couldn't get away with that now. But a guy who put a foothold in Oakland after a disastrous first couple of years there, then saw the merger through as AFL president, then sued the NFL and established a precedent that owners can move to other cities. He is just a towering figure, a scout, coach, GM, owner. How many guys check all those boxes?
No, and it's funny because talking to Gil Brandt, who works for us at NFL.com here, he has talked about Al Davis as secretly, because it's unknown to most people, as one of the most brilliant football coaches in the 100-year history of the NFL. So undersold on that front. And so that's your number 2. For number 1, I'm just going to go with what kind of hit me on this piece is the overall Raiders mystique that I think, it may not be the same when they go to Vegas. And it had so much to do with that relationship in Oakland. Players talking about during the week, they'd go out and they didn't have to go hide out in their own swanky restaurants. They'd go right down to the corner bar, drink beers, buy beers, pitchers of beers with the fans who just embraced them. And if you go into Oakland, if you've been up there, it is not as big as some of these other NFL cities, obviously. It's like a neighborhood that just loves this team. Kind of sad to see it go.
A team of outcasts and outlaws, that's what I think of, that fit the image of their name. The Plunderers, the Raiders, and I always pictured Ted Hendricks, all these guys who wash out in other places, arrives at his first practice with the Raiders on a horse with like an ancient Roman helmet on, and that's how he shows up at practice, and it just established a precedent for that team.
There was a lot of that. So if you want to check it out, it's NFL.com/silver and black. Thanks for listening to us, and enjoy the read.
Love those guys.
Good stuff.
Let me just button this up real
Please.
quick, Money.
Oh, so none of us get to weigh in? You're going to be the button, okay?
No, I'll open it up, the button. It'll be a button we all can. What? All right.
It's going to open up buttons.
So
I've got to undo my
you
button
are
here. Here we go.
technically correct from a strict grammar sense. However,
That just
it's not
technically, that's just correct.
going back to journalism school, if it reads wrong, you don't use it. Okay, so if it's, and I'll quote something that I just looked up here. Whatever the rules are, data are just sounds pretentious and abstract. It will alienate readers. Is that what you're going for? Just to show people that you're Mr. Grammar?
You could say
But
the data points are.
But where did you get that from?
Don't-
Where is that from?
That's
that little
coming
statement
from-
that you read, that is from.
It doesn't need
is that
to be
Strunk and White?
DanHandrews.com.
Did you just bust open the Strunk and White rules
DanHandrews.com.
of style, and that's where you read that from? Or is it some stupid Twitter feed that says punch a pretentious
It's
jerk?
not so much what the
figuratively.
source is, it's just a good point.
It's not a good point.
Yeah.
That are.
Just avoid it.
Yes.
That are.
Yes.
You know what I love about the Raiders?
What?
That dump of a stadium. I'm gonna miss it. I'll be honest. I am gonna miss it. It smelled. There was the last time I was just up there with the Chargers. There was actual trash in the weight room, like actual.
That's
trash.
great.
Yeah. When we return,
I love it.
yeah, viewers gonna get on you, Dan.
going to do that.
All right, we got a triple header on Saturday. I want to do that.
That's a
How about,
really good day.
Texans at Bucs.
That's fun.
Merry Christmas.
Bills at Pats. Rams. Niners.
I'm so happy we brought
Right
back
here.
the Saturday games.
I love this.
That is next Saturday, not this Saturday.
really
it is
good
next
Christmas
Saturday.
present.
I was part of it last year. It was fantastic. The nightcap, Ravens, Chargers, under the lights, going to be great. 3 huge games as it pertains to playoff implications, specifically that one at the very end with the Rams and the Niners. All right, constructive criticism. What viewers had to say about you.
Ian?
I believe it's pronounced Ian.
Ian?
He's getting more hilarious with each passing week.
I mean, you have a low threshold for comedy, sir.
I think it's a different type of hilarious.
These is.
I'm okay with it.
I think I nailed the rankings. 32 for 32.
All right, here we go. Next. Programmer. Pretty good, actually.
The professor.
Eagles up 6, second worst team. Dallas dropped 2.
Somebody's got to make the playoffs.
Programmer is probably a listener of the Around the NFL podcast. I've always been an NFC East guy, going back to my grandfather, Poppy, sitting on his big brown chair, drinking root beer, watching the Giants and Redskins.
How about
in the
not
80s.
a bias? How about if you're doing power rankings, not a bias?
I've
from
never
Grandpa
viewed
Poppy?
myself as a traditional journo.
But I'm going to separate myself from Grandpa
Did you go to
Poppy.
journalism
Can't do
school?
it. I did.
Do it.
Got the
So
degree.
you're-
Singletary. Can't do it. Here we go. Jake Spittler. Did one of your writers get dumped by someone from Buffalo? Ever date a girl from Western New York?
I was dumped by a girl from Massachusetts, but that's...
That's not
The
Western.
disrespect is so real.
At some point, disrespect so real. I'm okay
Stop
with
it, Bills
yeah,
fans.
I'm all right with it, Bills fans. I mean, whatever.
Stop
It's,
it. Why are you
they
guys
good?
still
Yeah,
doing this?
you're going to be in the playoffs.
How do you, after this week where, again, first of all, your quarterback played terribly, and I'll give him a pass because they had 400 yards of total offense in the 3 prior games, but beat one of these big-time powerhouses before you start chirping on Twitter. What's the point?
Chirp, chirp, chirp.
Are you saying they should chirp or?
No, I
Okay,
think
we're
they're
done.
funny. I think they're
That's
funny.
going to do it. You Google things. Determine where you come out in the
In the
world of
is
parlance.
are debate.
Yes. It's
Data
like
points are. Just say data points are, and then you avoid the whole problem.
Data is excellent.
Data points are.
the data and all of that.
Data-